Hey, what's up? It's WWE superstar Dolph Ziggler here, and you're listening to the Spanish Announce Table on the Trending Topics Network.
The Spanish Announce Table.
Do you ever dream of...
I was going to start the show at any time, and I've just been waiting for you to maybe we'll just start right there. Maybe that's it. This is episode 260 of the Spanish Announce Table. Tom, you're in a jovial mood. You seem to be a little more mobile this evening.
I'm definitely more mobile. And another thing, you know how you have weird dreams? Here's my weird dream.
Me.
Do not know why. 2 nights ago, I had a dream that I was in the crowd of a taping of Soul Train.
Ooh, Soul Train, huh?
But like the later, like the, you know, towards the early 2000s, late 90s.
Oh, like the redo Soul Train?
Was
it redo or was it still
yeah.
just on then? Like,
it was still on, but it was like a new host and they were trying to change with the times, that kind of thing.
Yeah, trying to update it a little bit.
But I was just in the crowd and they were playing Candy Rain. My
Did you get in?
love. No, I was in and I was just standing. You know how they have crowds and they were just standing there. I wasn't like on the stage dancing, but we were just like, I was just standing there watching. That was my dream. So weird, so random. So yeah, ever since then, just been kind of.
Now Tom's just got to dance. He's got a new lease on life.
Woo. Woo, yeah. So, neck injury update 2019. The neck collar is off.
Off for good.
For good. The neck is structurally sound.
Yes.
Everything seems to be okay. We're not going to do physical therapy for the first month because he doesn't want any aggressive motions for my neck. So kind of just let it get back into the normal groove of things. If there's pain after the first month, then I'll go into physical therapy. But if not, we're just going to keep it going. No physical contact for 6 months, which, you know, in my world means 2 weeks. And
6 months.
Nah, I'm not waiting that long. Fuck that.
Tom.
No, I know my body. I'm fine.
No, you don't know.
Yeah, I do. I'm good.
No, you're not.
And so everything was good. Checked out. Went to Gojo's, which is a little Japanese steakhouse that throws the shrimp. I thought it would be funny if I needed the neck surgery to catch the shrimp in a neck collar. Like I thought that was going to be the joke. Right. But, you know, I didn't need it on, so I didn't have it. But we still went.
Wore it. Yeah, you should have just wore it.
Yeah, I could have. But
then you should have, like, taken it off.
Throw another one and then taking it off and be like, now throw it. Yeah, that was
I'm healed. All right. Anyway, he shouldn't do that.
But yeah, so
good for you.
Neck collar's off. Slowly getting back into the groove of things. The head is heavy. I tell you what, wear a neck collar for 7 weeks, then you'll realize how heavy your actual skull and brain and all that stuff is. It's because I have a big brain.
Especially yours.
I probably have a bigger brain than you.
Big ass head.
But it's so.
I don't know about the brain, but the head.
It's the big brain.
Yeah.
People said that since I was young. Like, oh, look at that kid. He must have a big brain. He's so smart. All the time.
I think they said head. I think they said you got a big head. I think you're remembering how you wanted to.
No, yeah, I think I'm right. That's the big news of the week. Past weekend was Mother's Day. So since I was still in the neck collar, we did Saturday with my mom. My mom is allergic to dairy, full disclosure. So I made her a dairy-free yellow cake with chocolate vegan frosting. Sounds disgusting. Actually tasted amazing. Really enjoyed it.
Good.
Took her around Kansas City. She's a photographer, so I took her to some of the murals around Kansas City, some of the fountains, because we are the city of fountains. She took all the photos of that. Rode the streetcar. She took photos as we were on the streetcar. Took her to the Union Station to get coffee to start off the day. It was Emily, myself, my mom, and my stepdad. So we did that on Saturday. Sent a text and a call to my stepmom to wish her happy birthday or happy Mother's Day. Sunday was Mother's Day at Emily's. Went up to her house, or her parents' house, I should say. Enjoyed company with them, hung out, did all that fun stuff. And then Tuesday, yesterday was the big day. Got the neck collar off, and now we're moving forward. What about you, Tim? What you up to? What were you up to this past weekend and up to today?
The Mother's Day, we've been so busy, the comedy club, all that kind of stuff, and keeping busy with that. We decided to do it somewhat low key. I made her breakfast. She's a vegan, so I made her a vegan French toast. And amongst other things, got that all done. And then they booked a kids soccer game. Hayden's, the son swim trunk.
Swim
soccer
trunk
game on that. They lost, so sorry, Mom. And then after that it was home, movies, just hanging out, kind of, relaxing stuff with the kids and family time, stuff like that. Just because, we don't get a whole lot of that these days. So that's kind of what she wanted to do, is just kind of hang out, relax, and not make us and not have to go, not have to worry about anything,
Yeah. Well, good. So she had a good day. You had a good day. Everyone had a good day.
Of course, right. Yeah, we made things about Mom, That's what you do on Mother's Day. It's all about Mom.
Mother's Day. So what do you want to do as we fast forward to that holiday? That is the next holiday, correct? Actually, you know what? I think it's Memorial Day.
Memorial Day is. I actually have a birthday coming up on Friday that I've taken off of work, which I don't know that I've done before. You know what I mean? Taking the birthday off.
This Friday is your birthday?
Uh-huh. Yep.
What? How old are you going to be? Like 42?
I'm 9 years old. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Man, you get the senior breakfast this time around.
Not
awesome.
Yet. Not yet. Not quite yet. Not there quite yet. But it'll be close. Boy, this time next year, boy, you'll really be leaning into it, as we're still doing this show for no money.
Yeah.
It'll really hit hard then. I'll be like, what am I doing with myself? Or what have I done with myself at that point? It won't be doing. It will have been done. But man, other than that, man, the comedy club was great. Local guy. But he's out, he lives in LA now touring, but he's a guy from Paola. His name's James Johan. He was on the Blue Collar Comedy Tour of the Slackers, whatever they call that, the Slackers edition or whatever. So he was really funny.
Sure.
Jill Maragos, which she had a weird, everybody was like, I can't remember what her last name is. Watch the video. It's on the Facebook, right? She introduces herself. Still couldn't understand what the hell she was saying, right? So she shows up, and I was like, hey, Jill, sorry, what's the last name? And she was like, well, and I'm like, getting to write it down. She's like, well, you're going to write it down, or you want me to say how it sounds? And I was like, well, I kind of, and I was like, how about we just start with you tell me how it's written, and we'll go from there. I was like, does it look like it's how it's said? And she was like, well, I think so. And I was like, well, just give it to me, right? Her name is Maragos, right? And it's Maragos, right? She's like, it's Greek. And I was like, yeah, Maragos. That's how I would say it. And she was like, oh, good. She's like, a lot of people look at it and they say something completely different. And I was like, what do they say? And she was like, well, I'm not going to fucking tell you that now. She was like, I'm not going to get that in your brain. You're going to be sitting back there like, oh, don't fucking say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. And I was like, yeah,
it's true.
No, don't think about a tiger, right? So, so that was kind of one of the funny things. That was a little fun moment. But other than that, man, just, kicking it back, relaxing, being about Mom, man, and just watching wrestling.
But I want to talk more about this Friday thing. You're taking the work day off. What are you going to do?
I have no clue. We haven't really made plans. I also was like, dude, don't plan. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like going out and doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather just let's go eat, let's go do something cool. Maybe maybe hang out with some friends or something. Just see what the night entails. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like,
so I have to be free.
Well, I don't know if you were going to be alive, Tom. I didn't know what the prognosis was. I didn't know if you were going to be in a wheelchair. I didn't know if.
That's true, but you did say friend, and
yeah,
here it is.
There is but the one.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah,
As RVD says, the whole effing show right here.
She said to me, she was like, what do you want? You want playing something like just you and I? You want me playing something like the friends? And I was like, I got those. I was like, that's something right I have. Here. I was like, your friends? Why would they come to my They come to me. Yeah. So, jury yet is out on that, Tom. I don't know. I just know that, I haven't taken a day off for a birthday. And, I don't know if I ever did. It was by happenstance, maybe, but, I don't know. So that'll be fun.
It will be fun. Yeah. Good. I'm excited for you to cash in on all those senior citizen perks and getting all those half-price pancakes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you.
I go pick myself up one of those walking canes,
Mm-hmm.
Tennis ball.
Yeah. Maybe get you a fun, ironic hat that says old fart.
Ooh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Old fart.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Like or over the hill.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah, these are all great ideas. Nothing stereotypical about this.
No, no. Yep.
Hey, Memorial Day, as we were talking about holidays, is the next big holiday for this country. And on Memorial Day, Monday Night Raw will be here in Kansas City at the Sprint Center.
Oh, yeah, that's right, huh?
Yeah, got the day off, and I'm going to go meet The Miz.
You're going to go meet The Miz, like a meet and greet?
Yeah.
Where's that at?
The Cricket Wireless, because that's an official sponsor.
Uh-huh. Which one? Where's that at?
One of them. It's on the website.
You'll figure it out and you'll go
I saw it on the website. I'll click on,
it's probably
near
it's probably near the fucking stadium. He's probably not venturing too far away.
No, I don't think so. But yeah. I figured, because I was looking at my my collage of wrestling photos that I have that wrestlers got to meet me. And other than the times that we've done the interviews with Dolph Ziggler, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Big E, I don't know, I haven't met too many current wrestlers. I usually meet them after their prime, the Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan's, Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels. So I was like, I need to really up my game with the current roster of people. And so I was like, The Miz, got the day off, might as well. Because if you remember when we met Big E, now that was an ice storm, so circumstances were a little different, but no one showed up.
Yeah, no one showed up. It was it's weird. Again, these are car dealerships, which I get why a car dealership just wants people in the door, but they've got to know 90% or more of those people aren't going to buy a car, can't buy a car right now. So that's just an awkward experience.
Well, this one's a Cricket Wireless theater, or Cricket Wireless phone company.
Right,
so maybe they can get a $10
different.
phone or whatever it is, trade in your phone, get a new phone, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that one I get because everybody's always in the market for a phone. You know what I mean? Whether you really are or not, you could be persuaded if they're right. You know what I mean? In the right mood sometimes, most people.
Definitely. While we're talking about future events, this Saturday on ESPN Plus, if you have ESPN Plus, for the low price of $5 a month, you can watch UFC on ESPN Plus Rochester, New York, featuring 3 of my good friends, Grant Dawson, Megan Anderson, and Zach Cummings fighting on the card. So check that out. That's going to be Saturday night on the ESPN Plus streaming service. So there you go. 3 teammates of mine. I was out of commission for a while, but still, I've punched all 3 of them in the face, and they have punched me in the face. So, nice. I consider them friends and teammates.
Oh, well, if we're friends, then I got to punch you in the face, right?
You haven't yet?
No, not yet. Boy, I've come close. So, I've seen that all over Facebook. Good for them. That'll be neat, man. That'll be fun. I'm excited to see them.
ESPN wrote a good article about Megan Anderson's weight cut. She cuts 30 pounds for each fight, which we kind of knew. She already started with abs. It wasn't like a fat 30 pounds and then you get in shape.
Sure, of course.
So she goes through her diet, the sacrifices and weight constraints that she goes through to get to 145. So check that out on ESPN.com.
And if you can afford $5 a month, then feel free to also spend $5 a month on us via PayPal, tableshow@gmail.com. You can send a donation, or, you can check out our website and go to Spanish Announce Table's merch table. To that link there, you can buy some stuff. There's all kinds of options for you to support that show with that extra money you got because you're a big baller. Look at you, big baller. When you look good in some Spanish Announce Table threads, right?
Or drinking your coffee out of a Spanish Announce Table mug.
Right, or got your own little watch or something, or whatever the hell's up out there. Just browse it, go look at it, man. You got the money, you got the time. Fucking
go do
pimp,
it.
Stud. Look at that guy. All right, so Tom, any news, man? What else is going on? Unless you got,
So no personal news, but the big news is kind of something that we knew about for a while, but now has been made official.
Official
at the TNT Upfronts. It has been announced that All Elite Wrestling will have a weekly TV show on TNT in prime time coming up later this year. So now that it is official, it is on TNT. Tim, your first initial reaction.
Well, here we go again, right? We got TNT. We got USA. Now we got Fox in the mix, which is going to be interesting. That's kind of neat, even though Fox and USA are both under the same corporate side of it, so that'll be an interesting. No, the Fox and USA aren't, but they are both dealing with WWE here, whereas TNT is dealing with AEW. Right, exactly. So you've got 2 networks tied into one side of this war, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fascinating, too, to see how quickly an All Elite Wrestling adapts to a streaming service. That's the part where I think it'll be interesting. I think, obviously All Elite Wrestling is audience, and we've talked about the average viewer of pro wrestling isn't necessarily a 10-year-old, but it also isn't a 70-year-old. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. They're a more tech savvy consumer. And obviously with the WWE Network, ESPN Plus, Bleacher Report Live, all of these streaming services, I think the most fascinating part is going to be how long does it take All Elite Wrestling to go from, hey, we're on TNT each week, isn't that cool, isn't that neat, to, hey, we're on TV each week, isn't that cool, isn't that neat, and then also, don't you want to check out this streaming service, and also, don't you want to check the blanket? That's the part I think where they're going to see some competition.
Check out the All Elite Wrestling Network, now featuring the brand new video presentation of the Spanish Announce Table podcast each week.
Oh, if the Young Bucks even took 2 minutes to listen to anything that I've said about them, we're not getting on.
Yeah, you already burned that bridge for us, didn't you? We're getting no
one
interviews.
One of them blocked me. Yeah, one already blocked me. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're getting no interviews. We're getting no mentions. We can't advertise. We can't even pay them money. We're not allowed.
Hey, crazier things have happened. hey, crazier things have happened, right? Bret Hart went back to the WWE, so who knows?
Hey, if they like money, I mean, we're money.
We are money. That is true. One thing about the press release that I found interesting that I pointed out to you as I sent it to you over text is, I think I understand what they're trying to go for, but they stated in the press release that they want to have more of a sports athletic focus and not the fairy tale storytelling that some are accustomed to, which is obviously kind of an indirect shot at WWE. Right. They're going to keep track of wins and losses and statistics and what type of maneuver a wrestler has submitted to, percents, things like that. That was the only part where I gave kind of an eye roll because two things. One, let's assume they do house shows, right? Are we keeping stats during the house show?
Right.
So we're going to say, let's say you do a weekly show on Tuesday night and you do 3 house shows on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? And then you come back on TV so you're going to have a record. You lose on Tuesday, 0-1. Well, you're going to keep doing that match to get better at it, I assume. So then you lose 3 more times. Then the next TV taping, you're going to be 0-4. That doesn't make sense to me. What are we doing with the house show kind of loop? Yeah. And I assume they're going to do house shows because they want to make money because Chris Jericho isn't cheap. And then second, yes, I understand we want to go more NWA old school style when it was Harley Race and Ric Flair and it was Men Were Men and Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard and the Road Warriors. Like, I understand that was cool and I like that, right? Like I'm a fan of that more so than Hurricane Helms. You know what I mean? Right. However, one of Cody's closest friends, it seems to me from an outsider's perspective, is Joey Ryan. He's currently not signed with All Elite Wrestling, but if they do take off like we're expecting, like we're hoping, he probably will be someone that I assume would get signed. How are we going to statistically, show the dick grab, suplex or whatever the fuck he calls it, right? Like, what is right now we're going to keep stats of that?
Well,
get the fuck out of here.
I get all that too, and I understand what people say, and like the deal for me though is the more we make it sports like, the more I kind of agree when people are like, well, it's fake, like it's predetermined. Like, yeah, I mean that's where the storyline's supposed to come in. Now it's the most amazing athleticism you can find either way, but like it's just
well, and another thing that just again a monkey wrench into the I guess continuity of what you're trying to tell the viewer is, let's just say All Elite Wrestling starts in July, right? And they come out guns blazing, everything's awesome, right? Cody becomes a champion. I'm just assuming here. I'm just spitballing. Cody becomes a champion. Number 1 contender is Chris Jericho. Then the next one is Kenny Omega. And then we've got contenders underneath that, such as Pac and Hangman Page and all of that stuff, right? So all these statistics and rankings and all that is cool, right? And then it's September, and the debut of Johnny Moxley comes to All Elite Wrestling. Well, if you're trying to tell me that stats matter and wins and losses matter, Johnny Moxley goes to the back of the
right.
Oh, the money match would be, and again, this is all spitballing here, is Johnny Moxley debuting in his first match going up against the champion, let's say Cody, for the All Elite Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. Like, that's the money. But with what you're telling the viewer, stats matter, wins matter, Johnny Moxley has to go wrestle, Christopher Daniels. And that's not a bad match, but like no one wants to see that first. So that's where you're already kind of handcuffing yourself, in my opinion, with the stats matter, sports kind of, storytelling, because a debuting franchise in the NHL, NBA, or whatever doesn't just go to the championship. They start at the back.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess it's neat if you have it almost like VH1 style, where there's some pop-ups and there's some neat stats to help me get through boring parts of a match, maybe, but that feels a little 2001-ish.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I think hopefully what they're meaning, and again, we'll see once the product debuts, and I will be one of the first ones. I already told you we're ordering the pay-per-view. You're coming over. We're going to watch it because we have to find an alternative to what is a dull WWE product, and we'll get into that later. But I hope what they're trying to get at is the wins and losses matter, because then we can go into the qualifying matches for whatever their ladder match is called, or their qualifying matches to whatever their Royal Rumble is going to be called. And then that's where you can use those stats to justify wrestler A versus wrestler B for a qualifying spot, because this wrestler is on a 5 fight win streak, and the other wrestler's on a 3-fight win streak. Like that is hopefully how they use the stats.
How boxing and UFC does it. And
right. And so if you're going to do it that way, awesome, cool. But if you're going to use it to justify like the number one contender, and then all of a sudden, like I said in this example, Johnny Moxley comes in, like, you're not going to have Johnny Moxley just go to the back. That's all I'm saying.
I don't mind that too. Like, if you have a pseudo ranking system that I'm supposed to buy into, great. As long as you're telling good stories throughout it and it's consistent, it feels like it's an honest thing, great. Like, I understand that. That's fine to me. Like, if this is the number 3 ranked heavyweight in the, in All Elite right now, right? And they, committees, quote unquote, coming up with this rankings and yada yada.
Yeah.
If you make it feel like an actual sports federation, right? Sure, great, cool. Like, if you can work that into storylines, you can work where somebody gets on the council and they have it out for John Moxley, so they keep ranking him low, and it's hindering his overall. You know what I mean? Yeah, you could get into that. Great, I could get behind that.
Yeah, I could get behind that. And, one thing that we've always said, feels like since episode maybe 2, is, we're not into the Harry Potter, Star Wars type of storytelling, the sci-fi and all of that. However, as a longtime wrestling fan, I would be lying if I didn't say it was cool when Undertaker was trying to crucify Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yes, it does sound like a contradiction, but in the world of wrestling, sometimes, I don't want every character, but sometimes it's kind of cool to have some sci-fi. Just a little.
Worlds clashing. I mean, it feels, I always equated pro wrestling to a comic book world come to life. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of crossover appeal there with the Comic-Con. And if it like, at least in the WWE world, they've done that well. It felt like comic book characters coming alive and fighting, right? And we're just seeing it in a ring, right?
Again, though, and maybe I'm harping too much on the point, but I read the press release and I was like, yep, this is awesome, this is awesome, this is awesome. And then that one paragraph kind of soured me on it. And then I tried to ignore it, but I wanted to bring it up on the podcast because it is a genuine thought. But yeah, where does an undead wizard fall in the rankings of sports entertainment? You know what I mean? Like, that's where we're getting like, hey, let's not take ourselves too serious with this. We're trying to be athletic competitors.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, and I hope them the best. I mean, I want this to go off well. Yeah, I just hope it doesn't, like, you worry about the more you make something that's based on a real statistic, the more you're going to book yourself into corners. So you've got to be able to, if you can present in a way that you can still tell storylines off of it and bend it when you need to, then great. You know what I mean? Great.
But not bend it to where you're getting the wild card rule in WWE.
If stats matter, but the stats are wrestling stats. Awesome, right? Awesome.
Yes.
But if these are real stats, well, fuck, we're going to have some problems.
Definitely.
Right, because the first guy there is going to always be number one.
Right. Yeah. I'm just excited. We'll get into our in the second segment here. We're going to do our Money in the Bank picks and kind of favorite things of the week. But I cannot wait. I am literally counting down the days until Double or Nothing, just because I want to view something different where a crowd pops, I pop, there's fresh, new, fun things that's still in the world of pro wrestling that I can view, because WWE just is not doing it for me since WrestleMania.
Very little,
It's just, and I know the WrestleMania hangover, and we've said that each year that we've done this podcast, but this year it's like a WrestleMania hangover, but then also nothing makes sense.
Raw's numbers increased some, but SmackDown now has a record low.
Well,
they were
up
against a big
NBA
game, but still, you should still be able to. Right,
9 threes by Steph Curry.
But you should still be able to get, you know what I mean, like not have your record low.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. I don't get it. But anyhow, second segment. Did you have anything else for the first segment?
Nope, I'm good.
All right,
cut it out. We will take a break. I'm gonna go get some water, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about Money in the Bank, because we're Money in the Bank, and we'll do that when we return to the Spanish Announce Table.
In 2016, fun fact, Japan started giving its elderly citizens a discount on ramen if they gave up their driver's license.
The Spanish Announce Table.
Tom.
Tim.
Did you also know that we have our own merchandise for sale?
I did know that. I actually have a t-shirt and a sweatshirt, and coming soon, once I get done with all these medical bills, thanks government and healthcare, I'm going to get me a coffee mug, a Spanish Announce Table coffee mug.
Tom's so broke he can't even drink his coffee, folks. That's why you need to go to SpanishAnnounceTable.net and look for the link that says Merch Table up there. It'll take you to our Zazzle page.
Zazzle.
That's Zazzle, but it's just easy to go to SpanishAnnounceTable.net and click the link. And then there's all kinds of stuff, man. There's shirts. There's a deck of cards. I think there's a flask, maybe? I don't even remember.
Coffee mugs, phone covers, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, hats.
Various designs.
Any and everything you can think of, we got it. Click the link, SpanishAnnounceTable.net.
So do it, SpanishAnnounceTable.net, Spanish Announce Merch Table. Check it out.
The Spanish Announce Table.
Thomas.
Timothy.
It is time for
is that your full name?
It is Timothy.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Well, it's like Jimmy Butler, who plays for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Jimmy.
It's just Jimmy. Yeah. It's not James. It's Jimmy.
Nope,
Which, by the way, side sports talk. How awesome was that last second shot by Kawhi Leonard to eliminate the 76ers and game? God, that was. Both game sevens were sick, but that one was just incredible. It bounced so many times that I think there was a seasonal change in Toronto, and then it finally went in. It was so spectacular.
It went whisper quiet except for that, too. That was a great thing. Everybody held their breath in the arena. Everybody. It went dead quiet, and you just hear tap, tap. And then it goes through, and it's like, holy shit.
That was so great.
Yeah, that was fun. That was definitely fun. Yeah.
All right, let's get back into the pro wrestling talk here. So we're going into Money in the Bank.
I love this. At least this match is always super fun. And the concept is great, right? That's a great booking tool that you can use for however long or as little as you need, right? You obviously want to stretch it out as long as you can, I think, ideally. Unless you got somebody that you got real hot that you want to take care of right away. You can hit it quick, right, same night even. So...
Yeah, Alexa Bliss last year cashed in Money in the Bank on the same night, and that was a good way to get the title off of Nia Jax, but not to Ronda, and Ronda not lose. So, you can use it many different ways.
So let's just roll through it, huh? We're going to go through the show here. We'll start with the kickoff show, which is interesting for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The Planet's champions, Daniel Bryan and Rowan, taking on the best tag team in the world, the Usos.
Wait, that's a match.
To what?
That's a match?
Yeah, that's a match.
So the newly cemented Raw team of the Usos is going to challenge for the previous brand they were on, SmackDown's Tag Team Championship.
Yes.
And the former WWE Heavyweight Champion is now regulated to the pre-show.
Yes.
Understand why people want to see All Elite Wrestling. The fuck is this?
It's what it is, man. And
does that make any sense? Why would a Raw team get the opportunity to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships?
It's because...
Is there going to be an XFL team that plays in the Super Bowl?
There might be.
No, there's not.
There might be.
I'm going to poke my eyes out. How stupid is this?
Yeah, imagine if in the NFL playoffs they had a wild card where somebody from the other conference could just, right? The wild card teams came from the other conference.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Instead of the wild card being your own conference, we said, I kind of like this idea. You know what I mean? I want to see him do that in the NFL, right? Yeah, sure. You get in a wild card, but you know you're going to the other conference. You don't know anything about these fucking teams, right? Maybe you played some of them. Good luck.
That is insane. Insane. Okay, so I'm sorry. That was my freak out. I didn't realize this was a match. It's obviously going to be the Planet's Champions.
Yeah.
Because it's a SmackDown Tag Team Championship.
Well, you'd hope
the Raw team is not going to win this.
Yeah, you'd hope it would be. But again, with this wild card rule, I'm going with Planet's Champions.
Because you know who's going to cost the Usos the match? The Revival. Revival will find a way to fuck over the Usos to continue that feud.
Something humiliating, too.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right, it'll be a prank war.
There you go. That's cool. Adults playing pranks on each other.
Yep. Now
that has money written all over it.
Now, here we'll roll right into what should be the kickoff match. The Cruiserweight Championship. Tony Nese battling Arya Daivari. Right? Did I say his name right?
Sure.
Yeah. Tony Nese?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. That's still a thing, is 205 Live.
Well, it makes sense because of how many people they have. Again, it's a constipated roster, so I understand, like, hey, you got to put these guys somewhere. But
well, sure, but that's the only one distinct. Like you've got here, this one has its own unique. Like it's a weight limit. And you're like, okay, but everything else is virtually the same thing, just packaged in a different color.
Yeah,
like what the
Rey Mysterio, because Rey Mysterio can win the United States title and then also the heavyweight championship title, being a lesser weight than the 205-pound champion,
and on both brands or all three brands even. Fuck it.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense.
All right. Nice.
Yeah, Nice. Sure. There it is.
U.S. title, Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio. Now, we can harken back to the things that happened here, obviously. You know, we got, Samoa Joe basically threatening that he's like, I hope Dominic's there, that kind of stuff.
I hope Dominic turns on Rey. That's the hope.
It's the only cool thing that can happen.
That's what I'm hoping happens.
Oh, but shout out to Cesaro, right? That spot in the back was super fun.
Yeah. Are you sure this is even your son?
Yeah, he's tall.
Rey, how uninspired was your "no, I'm his dad" fight? Show some fire.
Yeah. How awesome was Cesaro trying to do the 619?
Yeah. He's great. I like him. One thing that did you note? Because I did, and it made my unibrow go, is Cesaro walked out to Sheamus's music. And the rumor is that Sheamus is going to have to retire because of spinal stenosis.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that bad for Sheamus, huh?
Yeah, that's why he's out right now, is because of spinal stenosis. And the prognosis is – that's a fun word to say. The stenosis and the prognosis is that he may not be able to return. And I thought, okay, rumors, because Daniel Bryan was going to be so hurt after WrestleMania, and then, hey, he's back, right? But the thing that made me perk up is when Cesaro's walking out to Sheamus's music.
Yeah, and they didn't say anything about the bar. They didn't say anything about Sheamus, but he has that little bit, like it starts off Cesaro. It was their bar music,
Yeah,
but it's Brandon Cesaro.
His.
It's Brandon Cesaro. The entrance was different. I like the entrance of the flashing pictures of him and the different poses and stuff. That was cool. I like that. And the music still seems to fit him if they're going to go that way. That is really shitty for Sheamus. Although, I mean, like, I don't think Sheamus was ever going to get back to the level that he was at, world titles and stuff, unless he pulled a major switch up. And it sounds like that may not be in the cards now. That kind of sucks. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, but for this match, I'm gonna go Samoa Joe, and I'm gonna go unintentional, but then later down the road, shenanigans.
So this keeps going on.
Yeah,
like
Dominic does something. Well, no, I think maybe you have Samoa Joe retain, and Dominic was gonna help Ray, but ended up costing Ray the match. And then Samoa Joe goes with someone else. Ray and Dominic still are like trying to be a team kind of thing. And Dominic cost him another match. And then we get a heel turn when Rey Mysterio is going up against Andrade or something.
All right. Well, now let's go to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So this one, I mean, by the looks of it, should be a spectacle, right? We've got Andrade. We've got Ricochet. We've got Drew McIntyre. Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, Baron Corbin, Ali, and Randy Orton. I mean, this is going to be brutal in some spots. It's going to be high-flying in others. Like, this is going to be what a ladder match Money in the Bank was made for.
Yeah, and you're going to also get probably 2 really cool RKOs out of nowhere that we never thought could be a combination. Yeah, so that's going to happen. Ricochet is going to probably do a 1050 backsplash on Ali, and Ali will kick out at 2 or whatever. Yeah, it's going to be fucking awesome.
So many kickouts at 2.
Well, it's a ladder match, but you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah,
like,
that's right.
He's
there
fine.
is no kickouts. Right there. There's no kickouts.
He's fine. I hate that stuff. It's getting annoying. But who do you got? So who do you got?
Man, this is a rough one for me because I feel like any one of these guys could carry that and use it well. It could do well for them. I would eliminate Balor because he doesn't need it, right? The right booking, you can put him into anything. I feel like Baron Corbin's heat, you shouldn't need to use it on him. Same thing with Orton. I mean, I'd almost go with Sami Zayn and try to ride the thing he's on right now if I'm booking it, but I don't think they're going to go that way. I think they're going to go Drew McIntyre. I just feel like that's how WWE is going to go. I'm going to go with McIntyre. I wouldn't book it that way, and I don't like that, but I think that's how they're going to go.
That's a safe bet. I like that. That's a good safe pick. I think they're going to go a little outside the box just to keep him relevant and have him hold on to something to say, hey, this guy's important, and I'm going to go with Ricochet.
Ricochet, yeah. That's my dark horse there. Not dark horse, but kind of the runner-up I was going to go with. Yeah. Andrade's a dark horse. With him and Zelina Vega, I mean, they could run with that.
Oh, yeah, Zelina Vega can put over the Money in the Bank manager of the Money in the Bank winner. She could always say that. And that would be great, too. That would be a good pick.
A manager in the bank, you know what I mean? Or something like that. I don't know, yeah.
But I'm just saying she can. I'm just saying she can always put that in the promo. Like, you don't realize how important this person is. It's this, and then she could even do the distraction when the cash-in comes in. Right? She could walk to the ring, smack the guy. He's distracted, grabs her. Andrade comes in. 1, 2, 3. Haha, new
champ. Yeah, but I think McIntyre. I think. God, he needs
McIntyre
too,
for the same reason. But for the same reason as Ricochet, right? It's this guy's important. See what's in his hand?
Right, exactly. Because if they're not putting a strap on him here, we always giggle at that. That's fun. If we're not putting the title on him, he's in risk of that whole like, okay, but what? Why? Like, yeah, great, he's big and bad, but he loses everything. Doesn't get a shot. What does it matter? He's becoming the modern day without a gimmick Bray Wyatt, where it's like, oh, it's a bad guy who loses. Right. Yeah. So, all right. So you're saying Ricochet. I'm saying Drew. All right. We'll move on to the women's Money in the Bank ladder match for the ladies. One time in the back for the ladies. All right. Let's run it down. We've got the Phenom Ember Moon. Right, we've got, who's this here? Mandy Rose. We've got Dana Brooke, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Natalya, Naomi, and 2-time Money in the Bank winner, Carmella. Could she be a three-time Money in the Bank winner? Tom, what say you?
No, I think they're going to give it to Bayley. I think she's lost in the shuffle. She needs to be doing something. We need to have her relevant for some reason. And I could see them kissing and making up with Sasha Banks. Bayley becomes the Money in the Bank champion, and her cash in on fill in the blank person. Sasha Banks makes her return and costs Bayley her opportunity to cash in on Money in the Bank. And then there we go.
Yeah, all right.
That's how I would do it. God, isn't that fucking cool? Let's just think about that. Let's just think Becky Two Belts defends, both of her belts. Bayley says, I'm cashing in. And then out of nowhere, Sasha goes in, costs Bayley the match, and was like, bitch, what do you think? You can leave me? And then there's your feud.
Right. Yeah, that would be cool because we're all expecting that, right? Like, I even said that when it came out. I was like, Becky Two Belts will win both, and then the Money in the Bank cash in will take one. That's how they get her away without making her look like she lost. And she was Becky Two Belts, and she could say, I'd be Becky Two Belts right now if they'd let me. And she'd try to get a wild card spot once in a while and try to get it and fail. But the swerve there is we see that coming, and we're like, oh, here it is, Bayley. And then Sasha's like, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. But, we're in the land of the not cool. So here's what I'm going to run down. All right. I'm going to eliminate Carmella because, we've been there, done it. I don't see any reason why they're like, we should do it again. Naomi is just, they're like, we've got Naomi. She's married to one of the Usos. She's not going anywhere. We don't got to worry about pissing her off. She's, you know what I mean? She's the Bret Hart of what we'll talk about later, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ember Moon, nah, ain't happening. So I'm left with Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Bayley, Natalya. Natalya, we're just going to cross off because it's never going to happen for Natalya. Dana Brooke right now, the rumor is like her recent push is because she's been working her ass off the hardest, right? They're like, she also stops down in Florida and takes extra classes at the Performance Center on her own. Like she sets up the fucking ring, like that. They're like, Jesus Christ, this girl's trying to fuck it, right? So that's why we're seeing more of her, right? So there's that, right? You can see where they're like, give her the money in the back. Because it's WWE, so don't discount that, but I'm going to cross that one off. And I'm really left with Mandy Rose and Bayley, and that's where my dilemma is, right? Because for what we're saying, right, Bayley's a kind of character we haven't seen, I feel like, with the Money in the Bank, right? Mm-hmm. So that would be really interesting and cool, and I'm all for that, and I kind of wish they would do that. But Mandy Rose is the premier exact type of woman that they would like to put the Money in the Bank on, right?
And Sonya Deville as like a bodyguard to the Money in the Bank winner. That
so I'm picking
perfectly
that.
makes sense.
I'm picking Mandy Rose. All right.
That's a good process of, what do they call that? Deduction?
Elimination.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah. Good. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for complimenting me. I like that. Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch will defend the Raw Women's title against Charlotte number 2, Lacey Evans. Which, by the way, if they do a women's tag team title run, Charlotte and Lacey Evans look like a tag team when they were standing in the ring.
Also, call them the McMahon twins. I think that'd be awesome.
Right, the Man Twins.
No, McMahon. The McMahon twins.
I thought you said
Not the Man
twins.
No,
I was like,
the McMahon twins.
Yeah, so, but I think for sure Becky Lynch wins this one. I don't see them giving Lacey Evans the Raw Women's title right away, but maybe so. I mean, it would be Heat Central. So, you know what I mean? You going to go out on a limb? What say you?
No, I think they like Becky Two Belts. I think she's going to win both. I think they're going to be like, oh, my God, she couldn't do that, and she did. And then the second time she does it, that's when she'll lose to someone. So this time I think she's winning both matches.
Well, yeah, and the Money in the Bank will always be in play to still do what I've said could happen at the end of the night, right? That could happen at the next pay-per-view. That could, right? All right, yeah, I'm going to say Becky Two Belts comes away with one belt.
You're saying both matches as well?
Well, I'm saying at least this one for sure. We'll keep moving on. Let me think about the other one. The Miz versus Shane McMahon in a steel cage match. Man, a steel cage match in 2019 to me is just, how many times can we act tired like we don't know how to climb 10 feet?
Well, you're going to see it all. Here's the thing that's going to be exhausting about that is you have two steel cage. So everyone's going to lose the ability to climb simple objects. Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's ladders and cages. Everybody's got oh my God, I'm so beat down, even though I just did a 350, whatever, man. Like, guys, Jesus Christ. The Miz wins this.
Yeah, because he lost at WrestleMania. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And this is when Shane, and I think the reason is because Shane will do something insane that will cost him the match. You know, he'll do
he'll be on
coast
the top.
to coast from the he'll do a coast to coast from the top of the cage that will cost him the match, and then we'll go like Shane's a crazy bastard, which makes him all happy, but then he'll lose to Miz,
right,
and then Miz will move on.
This right?
Yep.
All right, this one might be all right. The Miz will win a no contest when Shane McMahon at the top attempts to do his coast to coast from the top of the cage to a prone Miz, slips, and Owen Hart's himself on the way down, falling down, and then they just have to call everything off.
He could just T-Mac himself and just end up in a neck collar for 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm. True that. He could almost Owen Hart himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miz wins this. All right, Roman Reigns versus Elias.
Come on.
Reigns. Yeah. All right, we're going to talk about my storyline idea. I sent you a text.
Yes, let's hear it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So if you notice when they were teaming up with the Usos and the Roman Reigns here, they kept hitting on the word the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that got me thinking. I was like, all right, that's a hell of a faction name if they were to go with that, right? The bloodline, right? Because we know that wrestling family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Shane McMahon already hates Roman. Well, he would seriously take offense and be like, excuse me? The bloodline? No, the bloodline is the McMahon bloodline. You know what I mean? Like, that's not happening, right? So now we've got them battling here, right? And I would still involve the Planet's champions because it's easy to run that into, and they're a good hand to battle with them. But they've offered their help to the McMahons because all the McMahons are pissed at these, cool fucking Samoans running around getting all this attention, calling themselves the bloodline of wrestling, right? And the McMahons are pissed, and the Planet's champions have offered their services, right, in exchange to help further their liberal agenda, right? There's going to be green initiatives around WWE corporate, and there's going to be vegan initiatives at catering, which makes catering suck for everybody else, right? So everybody's pissed off. Everybody's mad about that. So you've got your tag team taken care of there going up against the Usos, right? But we've got to get rid of the Elias, right? He's not the type for this storyline, right? So I was trying to break it down like, all right, who's the one, right? Who's the McMahon picked guy to be going up against the Roman, right? So I really only came away with 5 possibilities that I think fit on the rosters, right? And there was Randy Orton, which I don't want to use, right, because that sucks. Lars Sullivan, but jury's out if he's really on that level or can handle that level, and he's racist. So
what happened with that?
There were some
old tweets,
some old message board posts and stuff that were really racial, racist innuendo jokes and shit like that and stuff. And they were old, and he's kind of came out and was like, "Yo, I'm not proud of that, and that sucks, and that was shitty." And he's like, had to apologize, and sponsors were pissed, so they had to fine him $100,000, and he didn't disclose that kind of shit and stuff like that. Yeah, Drew McIntyre, right, is an easy one they could go with, right? Big muscle dude, right? He could be gaining favor. How can we stop him? Braun Strowman could also fit in that role for the same exact reason, right? But then I settled on 100%. Seth Rollins, right? So now Seth Rollins, been a WWE fan his whole life, right? This has been his dream, and on principle, he believes the bloodline family is the McMahons, right? And now the Shield, history writes itself there, of course, like that. So I'd probably go with that, right? But I'm open to suggestions on who that is, right? But you could then later introduce Nia Jax to kind of rough up on Stephanie. They've got that Anoa'i family has got active wrestlers by the dozens right now that could come in and do quick spots here and there that you don't know who the hell they are, right? They've got past ones that are still alive that could take spots. I mean, this could be a big, long thing that runs out over time, but you've got to give the bloodline, Roman and the Usos, free reign to be what they are, right? The coolest dudes in the room, get the crowd behind them. They're the kind of cool heel tactics, if you will, right? You know what I mean? I'd go something along those kind of lines is how I'd book all of this nonsense that they're giving us now with that regard.
I like that.
Yeah. Right? I mean,
yeah.
At least there's, you know what I mean? Because then there's something to care about. There's got to be what sparks that, but that's just it. I think it's something as simple as that, right? I mean, like, they're calling themselves the bloodline. They're getting all this attention, right? And Shane McMahon's like, excuse me, what, like, the hell are you talking about? You know what I mean?
McMahons are known to do that. Just for example, when Seth Rollins and AJ Styles were trying to promote their match this Sunday, this is my house, and no, it's Monday Night Rollins. This is my show, and Vince just
petty.
a quick quip from Vince during that whole thing was, actually, this is my show. And then just kept on moving. Like, he didn't make a big deal, but he's always thinking that way. And so, yeah, I like that. The bloodline.
Right,
that is cool. I like that. And that's a good freshening up for Roman to add some cool street cred. Like you said,
might get like some actual like fandom behind him too then, right?
Yeah.
If he's actually cool and he's going up against people that are, nerdy and, that we don't really like, Like, come on. Yeah.
I like it. That's a good one.
I like the twist of the liberal agenda of the planet's champions, right? Because that is just, again, we're weaving storylines. It's across the whole board. It's a glimpse into the behind the scenes of a world, right? Into the universe, if you will. All right, the WWE Championship, Kofi Kingston versus Kevin Owens. Does it end here?
No.
I don't think it does either.
One more. I think they're going to get one more feud out of this, and then they'll go,
Yeah, I think Kofi too. I think it's still too new.
I like your story. You should do more stories.
Yeah,
that was good.
I like that idea. Yeah. All right. Now, all right. So what do we think, though, here? Kofi, the Kevin Owens, everything that played out. Sami Zayn's helping him. I don't know what to think about that. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Wild card thing they can't stay consistent with. They still broke the number of people who are supposed to be on each show. Whatever. It was fine. It happened. It's sure. That's how I felt. Sure. I like the Kevin Owens thing. It's like they only have one moment in a storyline. They don't know how to make multiple moments in a storyline anymore.
Right. They just kind of don't. I feel like it's gotten so corporate and it's gotten so they've lost the storytelling ability in this day and age or at least something's hindering the ability. You know what I mean? Like someone
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
maybe time to Steve Jobs this guy. You know what I mean? Like, remember when Apple took him out for a while and they're like, you got to go sit on the sidelines for a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean?
Reports are that writers are just so pissed off they can't get anything done because Vince just fucking fiddle farts around.
Our history, all of our fans know my huge love of Kansas State football and athletics, and they had a very similar story. Right? Their coach of whoever basically built the program from ground up from nothing is now 78 years old and a little bit senile. And you're like, hey, okay, how do we do this? You know what I mean? Like, we understand this is all you and you're kind of in charge, but you got to go, right? So how do we make this peaceful? How do we not make this a big deal? And how are you going to be able to cope with this? You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to be okay with it? Because it was the same kind of worry with in my analogy here was like, it's the kind of guy who does nothing but work. So what happens to that guy when he doesn't work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they probably are afraid of that also. I mean, they probably know very well what that means. You know what I mean? They're like, I don't want to go there.
Something needs to change, though, because now you can't get two consecutive weeks of just good storytelling. You can't. And that's why everything feels so C-minus.
Especially not in the same storyline.
Yeah. I don't know. So, not to keep going down negative road, but I think this is a fine story. It didn't do too much for me after the initial heel turn and before that the Big O thing. But I think Kofi retains.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, I think so also. Well, we got Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Universal Championship. This is another one where I'm just kind of like, guys, we didn't do anything with this. Like, there was no.
But it's another one that's fun on paper, right? The first time in WWE, AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. If I tell you that, that's fucking cool.
I guess.
But, man, come on.
Yeah.
You know?
I know. It's just like, all right.
But you got to tell me something with it. You can't just put people in a ring and say, like, isn't this cool? Like, not really. Not all the time.
Yeah, I like the throwback to the first match, right? I like them showing that footage when he's talking in the back.
But that should have been the first thing.
Yeah.
See, that's where I think the storyline got off track is right from the jump because AJ became the number one contender by winning the 2 triple threat match or whatever it was. Triple threat, then the winners, and then he won that, right? So the math makes sense. You don't have to tell a storyline that these guys hate each other. But instantly, right then, Seth could have said, like, that's who I wanted to face.
Right.
This is the guy. I'm glad he won.
This is who I wanted to be, and now I want to beat him.
Right. I wanted to face him because I've always had something in my heart that said I needed to prove this guy. And this is why. When I was a kid, I faced him. He beat me, and I looked up to him. And now I'm the man, and I want him to look up to me.
Right.
That's the first thing you say, not the last. Makes sense of the.
Yeah, growing up in this industry, he was always my measuring stick. And now that I've grown up, it's time to show I'm bigger than the measuring stick. You know what I mean? Like, just simple, like,
but that, because they actually told a decent story, but they told it, in my opinion, and again, hindsight's 20/20, but they told it in the wrong order. Because this is, we could literally take all the elements that they had, and I will tell a better story, in my opinion, than what they did. This is what you do. AJ becomes the number one contender, right? AJ's number one contender. Seth gets in the ring. They do the handshake thing. Seth Rollins comes out, cuts that promo that he cut on Monday, saying, like, this is the guy I wanted to face because when I faced him as a kid, we already just said that, right? Then that night, AJ goes, you know, I'm glad that you used to look up to me. And guess what? You still should look up to me because I still have what it takes to become champ, and I'll prove it to you. Let's team up together, and I will show you what I can do to the rest of the locker room and what I will be doing to you, right? Yes. And then you have this like pissing competition where they're tagging each other in and out, in and out. It's amazing move after amazing
showing
move.
Each other
top
up.
That, right? It's top that.
Smell my
and
dick.
Right, and then throughout that match, AJ has this self-realization, like you have Seth Rollins do that Falcon Arrow thing where he does the suplex off the top rope and then it rolls into another suplex, right? And then you just zoom in on AJ's face just a little bit and you have this like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like the self-realization that like maybe this guy is better than me, right?
Yeah. Well, and the tags start getting harder, right?
Well, no, and then that's when you can get the forearm on purpose or was it on accident?
Yep.
And then that's where you can tell that storyline of like, no man, I respect you. It happened. You know how that can happen. And then it was like, well, I thought you were someone I could look up to. Maybe you're a false idol. And then you tell that story and then you get into the match. It's just told.
They just told it in the wrong order. Yep. Yeah, that's what they do, Tom, because they fly by the seat of their pants. And, all right, that's the last thing we got on the docket here. Becky Lynch, Becky Two Belts, going for belt number 2 up against Charlotte Flair, the queen of the woo, if you will. What do you think here? I still think Becky Two Belts comes away.
Yeah, I think the merchandise is selling well. I think the tagline is fun. I think they want one more "can she do it again" kind of thing. Because if she does it once, then oh shit, could she do it twice? And then that could be the whole story you're telling the second time. And then the competitors doesn't even matter, right?
Yeah,
it becomes a more of, can she accomplish this incredible feat 2 pay-per-views in a row? It can be Naomi and Alexa Bliss, but can she do it again? And then there's your story. And then she fails.
Right. Yep. I like it. Yeah. So Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch. That is who I got. Right. Hey, so that's the Money in the Bank, but I wanted to cover one thing that was not a part of Raw or SmackDown. That was my favorite thing of the week. I wanted to share with the audience, if they have not watched on the WWE Network, it's under specials. If you go to original specials, look it up. It's in that app. Watch Holy Grail, the story of the long lost match between Mega Man Tom McGee and Bret Hart. It is spectacular. It's told from Cassius Ohno, Davey Boy Smith Jr.,
Sam Roberts.
Sam Roberts is in there to give context of like the tape trader community. It's just well rounded. X-Pac was in there to kind of give you a glimpse of I was going to be on the roster, then I was, and we never heard from him. You know, we saw him at the gym all the time. And then towards the end, you got Bret Hart, and I don't know what happened to him. It looked like he went from being a bodybuilder to a long-distance runner, but Tom McGee looked like a shell of himself. Unless maybe that's what he was going for, right? Like, I'm getting off the fun juice, and I want to be a long-distance runner. Because he looked to be a long-distance runner to me now. But
he did have that like long, lean, like guy that you see that runs marathons, right? Yeah,
and so if that's what his goals are, then fantastic, good for you. But you got to see
like a very nice, humble dude for sure,
and a guy that doesn't see. He seemed like, man, this could have been the way that I got it. And if you haven't watched it, watch it. I won't try to give too many spoilers away. But my thought about seeing Tom McGee and hearing from Tom McGee is, he definitely seems like he's good with never being in the wrestling business after he left in the 90s or 1990. But there's also a little bit of, man, I could have.
Right, like I could have been the shit.
I could have been something. But it also seems like he doesn't watch wrestling anymore. It's not like a big, huge passion. It's just like I was good at that, but just things didn't go well. No, well.
Yeah, well, I think he realized, like, had I put in the time, the effort, the work, I could have, and now I'm also hearing like they clearly had plans to make me a big deal. Like that's a window of opportunity that I don't see. But you all, like, I would hope that all of us have that, perspective too. That you look back and you go, yeah, but then like everything I know now and the people I love now and all that would be different or non-existent, and who the fuck knows? You know what I mean?
But
so that's
it
always,
definitely felt like. Yeah, but it definitely felt like it wasn't a passion of his. It felt like something like, for example, like if you found your niche in the IT software business, right? But then you later on in life, you found out that the inside sales position was just something that you were kicking ass at, but you didn't enjoy it, but you were kicking ass. Then you go like, man, could I have been like a sales manager? If I would have pursued it, but I didn't like doing it. And so there was a little bit of that to him. But that's my favorite thing of the week. It's new. I also finally checked out the Nigel McGuinness story. That's another very tragic, quick review for you if you want to watch that. But both of those things really, really fun if you're a pro wrestling fan, which obviously you are if you're listening to this.
Yeah, the Tom McGee thing, really. I haven't seen the Nigel McGuinness thing yet, although I know some of the story, obviously. But, man, that thing was – I saw when that thing started hitting the news, just because I've tracked the news for this show, that somebody had found this long way to tape that people have been looking for, but I didn't know that, like, people had really been looking for it to the tune that, like, they spell out in this thing. And the documentary is done really well, low-key enough that it really just focuses in on the actual context of everything going on, right? And
yeah, the girl that found the tape, who is a tape trader,
fun, huh?
Yeah, she was great. I thought the whole thing was done perfect. I thought it was fantastic. I was not a tape trader because unfortunately, me and my friend John Batten, growing up, we were the only two pro wrestling fans in our neighborhood, so everything he had, I also had, kind of thing. So we didn't really have tape trading in Kansas City, but I had always heard about it, right? So I had subscriptions to the World of Wrestling or the Pro Wrestling Insider or whatever the hell it was called.
And I think the tape
and I would read about tape trading, but I never did it because I didn't know anyone.
I think even then, if I'm not mistaken, like it might have even predated that a little. You know what I mean? As far as its heyday, it was like early internet. You know what I mean? Like message boards before chat rooms kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like that's where people really were hitting it hard. That's where all the Japanese stuff was flowing hard. Yeah, I never really got into that either. I liked the WWE stuff and I found that online, and then I found some stuff on the internet to kind of, supplement, extra stuff that I was looking for. But like I never really was like, I got to see this, and the more the better. I was like, I had enough. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't insatiable of an appetite, and still isn't, right? Like, I want enough. I just want it to be good, right? Like, the reason I think we're longing for more now is that, like, what they're putting out there now is almost too much stuff because there's not much substance to it. Yeah. Which will lead me into my favorite thing of the week. And we'll say favorite just because I think my favorite was also the Tom McGee thing. But because in the Money in the Bank, we didn't get to really talk about this because there's no match associated with this guy yet, but the Firefly Funhouse revealed Bray Wyatt has learned how to harness his darkness, right? And now he's got this alter ego of sorts and scary mask, which I don't know if he'll wrestle in, probably not. So, again, yes, definitely unique, new, interesting, ready to see where it goes, but just still, I'm very apprehensive that there's gonna be nothing for this to do. Like, what's his purpose?
Part, yeah, I loved what I saw. Right, like just standalone. If I don't know anything else, I'm just looking at that in the pro wrestling WWE world. I thought it was perfect. I thought it was great. The only thing I know better than you, T-Mac story time, is I would have had him do, these Firefly Funhouse things to where they almost become comical and like a spoof of itself, of him like
where we think this is a joke.
Well, like being the Pee Wee Herman thing, right? And the Yowie Wowie actually becomes a T-shirt. Like you get to that point,
Right.
And then you have him come out and you wrestle. And then you just still have him be the yowie wowie guy. And whoever you want to pick to be his first opponent. Let's just say it's Apollo Crews. That seems easy, right? And Apollo Crews beats him in a match. And he's like, wow, yowie wowie. Right. I can't believe you did that, you know? And then he does like a, man, I really gave you it. I gave you my all, and you beat me. Hey, secrets with like some technique. I really need to work on my wrestling. You want to come to the Firefly Funhouse?
Yeah.
And you bring him in. And then you have this perspective of like Apollo Crews going like, where the fuck am I? There's a goddamn buzzard talking to me.
Rat
what the
that looks
fuck?
like it's been sewed back together.
Right. And then throughout the
Rabbit
episode of Raw, you could have done this. Throughout the episode of Raw, it's, in the first hour, we get the Apollo Crews shows up. Bray Wyatt's so excited. And the second one, that's when we understand it's fucking weird. And that's when the buzzard and then the witch girl or witch lady is talking to Apollo Crews and like, what the fuck? And then in the final thing, what you close Raw with is that fucking thing appearing to Apollo Crews. And we might not see Apollo Crews. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
I would just assume that Apollo Crews
is dead.
Is dead. Yeah,
Right.
Obviously he's not dead, but he goes away.
Or no, it's somebody better than Apollo Crews who can do this, but that could be somebody who almost comes back as a Stepford Wives version of somebody who's like now in the Firefly Funhouse, and they're like, everything's amazing and they're great, and they're kind of brainwashed, right? And they're gone.
And you can do that.
Right.
You could do that later, but you have him disappear, and then the next week on Raw, or maybe you just do 2 weeks, right? Because you do a week of just letting it sit, and everyone going like, what the fuck? And we complain about why it's not on TV. It's the best thing going, because fuck us. And then on the 2 weeks after his reveal, he just comes back as Pee Wee Herman.
Right.
Right. And he's like, hey, guys. And you do a backstage interview. We're like, hey, what happened to Apollo? And he's just like, what? Oh, Apollo left. Yeah, he showed me this one great move that I just used out there in the ring. That's how I won the match.
Right.
And then he left.
Yeah, he starts using the people's finishers. Right, or their signature moves, right? Like he's like absorbing their And
then when he gets into a tight spot, that's when the Stepford wife Apollo Crews shows up and was like, and Apollo Crews does his finisher.
Yes,
right. He becomes this fucking eater of worlds.
Yes,
because he's eating the fucking worlds of the wrestlers. That's what I would.
And it all goes down in the Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah.
Right. And think about eventually the demon and this thing could go at it. I mean, you know what I mean? To fight back.
Who has to end it all? You know who has to end it all?
Huh.
It's Randy Orton. He fucking burns that down as well.
Yes.
It's the arch rival. Because now we've just established that Bray Wyatt loses to everyone. But now that he's lost to everyone, there has to be one person that he lost to,
right?
He just still can't get over to. And we already saw that he painted when Randy Orton burned down his fucking Sister Abigail house, right? So when this all comes to whenever you want to end this in 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, whatever it is, Randy Orton is the motherfucker
still the legend
who
killer.
Ends it and the fucking ends the Firefly.
Kills the legend that is the Firefly Funhouse. He burns the Firefly Funhouse.
Yes.
Yes, goddamn.
And you can weave in, Seth Rollins is going to burn it down, but then he loses, or whatever, right? But nothing really happens with that.
Right.
Then you can do your fun.
The demon can't get over.
That's when you can do your dark stuff, right? You can do your demon.
The new Punishment Martinez dark character that they're going to make.
Punishment Martinez. Aleister Black. You can play with all of that stuff, but then the final,
his own brother, Bo Dallas, could try, right? You could try everything.
The fucking Avengers Endgame motherfucker who ends this is Randy Orton.
That would be great.
That's how you do it.
Dude, I like this. Yeah, I'm worried where it goes. You just made a better storyline than they put out in years with that. That's a great idea, though, because, yes, you draw it out. We start catching glimpses of it. People are like, wait a minute, what the fuck? What just happened?
But he always... his alter ego comes out, but he never acknowledges it, as if it's he blacked out.
Right.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
and they go to play it back, but the footage just grays.
Yeah,
right? You're like, wait a minute,
the feed cut out.
Right.
He's like, oh, that's weird. I wonder how that happened, and he just walks off.
Right. It even flashes that mask real quick, and he's like, oh, yowie, wowie, that was weird, right?
Yeah,
you guys are weird here. This is the weirdest place I've ever worked, right?
Must be the weather. Wowie.
Something's in the water out here. Yeah, oh yeah, you just, oh man, I agree. Yeah, so I mean, I'm interested where it goes, but I am worried where it's about to go, and that's about all. And that's kind of how WWE's been right now, you know?
Mm-hmm. You ain't lying.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it unless you got anything else, man.
No, I'm just now excited and wishing that they'd listen to me.
Yeah, well, I know they're listening, but they, Vince just keeps telling them no. They're like, we got to hire this guy T-Mac, and he's like, I hate that guy. The Young Bucks told me he sucks. All right, let's end on that. We'll come back next week for episode 261 of the Spanish Announce Table.
Fun fact, in Major League Baseball, umpires are required to wear black underwear just in case of their pants split.
The Spanish Announce Table.